Yeah, this is the sectorial segment, and it is that segment where we'll talk about something in particular that you can learn about and something that you can sit down and make income from. And today on the program, we'll be talking about importation business, how easy it is for you to import outside Nigeria, and what are the skills you must have if you want to import outside Nigeria, and what are the things that you must, the processes that you must involve yourself with. And I have with me in the studio Comfort AGBETOYE. She is a businesswoman. I can call her an importer too, and she has been in that business for a while. You're welcome, Comfort.
Thank you.
Welcome to the program. Now let's talk about this importation business.
Okay.
For a layman, when we talk about importation business, is it only bringing in something outside Nigeria?
Okay. Like you said, for a layman's language, importation basically involves anything that has to do with buying goods and services, because you can import goods and services from outside. Nigeria is our case study, right? From outside Nigeria, directly from the manufacturers or producers, directly into Nigeria.
Okay. So how can a beginner, someone who do not have any knowledge at all about importation, how can they start learning about it and making it a self-sustaining business for them?
All right. You made mention of knowledge. The first thing, I mean, the foundation of everything is learning. Yes, it's learning, and importation is very vast.
Okay.
There are many businesses you can build out of importation, right from the point of being the buyer, being a procurement agent. You know, there are businesses that, you know, people set up businesses in Nigeria and then they need a source of supply. So they might not have the direct contact with those manufacturers or a link where they can buy. So you can come in that process. That's another business you can create. There are people that also train people exclusively on importation. That's another business on its own. And there are people that render the marketing services. So the number one thing you need to do is to choose a niche. You know, choose the category of the importation. Like I said, it is vast. So you can just decide to, you know, choose a particular segment of it that you want to go for, and then you learn from there.
Can someone be all of that? Being the teacher, the importer, the buyer, the middleman, and all that?
Well, I believe being the teacher gives you all of the knowledge involved in the process. Like, I'm an importation person, so I can say I can participate in every aspect of it. But if you're building a big business out of it, you need to start from, you know, you don't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, but it is possible for you to actually be a jack of all, because, you know, it's still within the same industry. You can still work yourself within the same industry, but you need to, you know, get a mastery of a part of it, you know, then you build up from there.
Okay, how profitable is it?
Importation
Because that's what we are really after. The income, how you can sustain yourself, what you can get from all this. So how profitable is it?
Importation is profitable. Why? Because Nigeria is not a producing country. So the best country to practice, or the best economy to practice importation, is actually a country like Nigeria. And let me use China as an instance. China is a vast producing country. You don't want to go to China and say you want to import. As a matter of fact, Chinese people, the things they cannot import are the products they have not come across. When they see that other countries are buying, I mean, for instance, Nigeria is buying something from Turkey, or Nigerians are buying something from the US, and, you know, they are producing countries, they would find a way to produce
something similar.
They will find a way to produce something similar, and they will present it to you like, we can sell it to you at a cheaper rate. And since we have the access, you have the access to buy directly from us, to ship it to you, and they will just bring it up. That's why, that's why we hear things like, oh, we have the counterfeit products. I'm not saying Chinese people produce counterfeit products, but they're just trying to produce for people that can't afford the actual luxury goods. You know, so.
Okay, so durability.
The opportunities there, the profit margin is wide, depending on the category of products you're going for. But in one word, importation is actually a very profitable business, and you have the advantage of practicing it in a country like this where we do not produce, and 90% of the products we use here, you know, even our daily products, are imported goods. So that opportunity is there.
That's a bad thing if you are not producing anything,
if you are not producing,
it's not really good for us as a country. Now, I wanted to ask if we export, but you said we are not producing.
Yes, we actually do. We actually do export. We export goods, we export services. For instance, as I'm speaking to you right now about importation, and then I get a request from UAE or anywhere as a brand, as a personal brand, or as a corporate brand, if I'm going out here to deliver a service, I'm actually exporting my service to them. Now, one of the common things we export out of Nigeria are food items. For instance, we have African restaurants and African stores in other countries. Where do they get those products from? They don't produce palm oil there. So Nigeria is actually an exporting country too. We export.
So why are you exporters making it look as if we are not producing anything at all?
Well,
maybe the percentage.
Yeah, the percentage one. And secondly, like I said, 90% of the things we use here are actually imported items. So most of the times we export the things that those other countries end up, they process, and we end up importing them again. Let's talk about chocolates. We export cocoa. And then they process it and they produce chocolates and we end up importing them. So I think the issue is Nigeria as an economy itself. Like we've not moved beyond the phase of growing
manufacturing.
No. We've not moved beyond the process of planting. Or what's the word? Yes, we've not moved beyond the process of the first stage of the product, which is the planting and harvesting. Instead of us to, move on to the process of manufacturing them, processing them to become marketable products. We just we just stop at the level of producing and then we export directly.
Okay, all right, thank you then. Is there any guide if you want to become an importer? Do you have to follow any kind of process at all?
Yes,
do you have to go to a school, or someone must mentor you, or you can do all that online?
Okay, you don't necessarily have to go through the contemporary school because you would not even learn it from there. But you can get a mentor. You can learn from someone that has the skills. Yeah, and it's just to make your research on, and it's not a difficult thing. And I mean, we are all over the place. We are all over the place. So you just get someone that is skilled in that area and just enroll. Yeah, and this is something you can learn online.
Okay, what are the challenges importers face when exporting, when importing? What are the things you face, and how do you think it can be brought down and helpful?
Okay, one of the major challenges we face and we are still facing, and even the people in the grassroots that don't even have the knowledge about it are also complaining about it, is the exchange rates.
Okay.
Yeah, is the dollar, the rise in the dollar rate, the fact that Naira keeps getting devalued by the day. So that is actually like a big challenge because, for instance, China has a major country where we import from. The goods from China in itself are not expensive. Like if you were to quote, if you quote the values in dollars, but then bringing it over to Nigeria, if someone from the US is buying those products, it is cheap to them because if you convert it to dollar, it is, quite affordable, irrespective, because you can get most of the cheapest products from there. But you're bringing it into Nigeria. Imagine the same product that you bought at, let's say, $50 in 2019. A product that you bought at $50 in 2019. Now, buy that same $50 product right now. You're almost buying it at, twice the price. And okay, we understand that. Yes. Now, that's even like a long time ago. Let's even talk about 2 months from now. You buy a product at a certain price, and maybe there are some people that do things like drop shipping, or maybe a contract. You just have a contract with somebody and you've agreed on the price, and then the person pays a certain percentage to you, and you're to buy the goods, deliver them to get your balance. But at the time you're clearing the goods when it gets to Nigeria after about 1 or 2 months, the price has increased, and at the end of the day, you're probably ending up at break even or even at a loss. But because you had your agreements already, you're already at a disadvantage. And secondly, the reactions we get from the consumers, it also affects us because a lot of people don't, the fact that you have a lot of alternatives, and it's quite difficult for customers, for consumers to adjust to the fact that, hey, the price has increased. This is on everybody. You have to get used to it. But people don't want to get used to it. So they just
it's not easy to
it's
spend
not just
money.
easy. So they end up just settling for, local products and also the disadvantage is actually on the sellers.
So what is your word of advice to those, especially those who go at loss importing? What do you think they can do, and how can they double check this risk?
Okay, I think the first thing I would advise, because the exchange rate thing individually, I don't think you will really have an influence on how to change that. The first thing I would advise is, if you're selling a product within Nigeria or even across West Africa or wherever you're selling your product to, start getting used to, quoting your prices in dollars.
Okay.
Yes. So that you know that when you buy this product at $50, even if it comes in 2-3 months after now, it's still at $50. So whether the Naira exchange rate has gone up or gone down, you are still, you're still at the same profits margin. So that's one of the coping mechanisms to use for that. Then secondly is to just we just have to let them know, inform the customers. Inform the customers, and you just have to create a structure whereby, should in case there's a slash, there's a change in the price, this is what it would be, and this is how we're going to resolve it. So that's quite relative to the kind of products as well. But the best coping mechanism I can advise is that we quote our prices in dollars.
Dollars,
yeah.
or the foreign currency.
Or the foreign currency.
Or the country you want to import
please.
from. Now let's talk about setting up the business.
Okay.
Can you set it up without fund? Or when you are setting it up with fund, does it require a very large sum of money?
No, it does not require a large sum of money, basically. But it depends, like I said, it depends on the niche you're going for. Importation business is not just outrightly buying
and selling
from outside and selling here. Like I, as an importer, I've imported goods that normally I don't have a brand in the name of selling bags, selling shoes, but I've imported different varieties of products. All I just do is I position myself for contracts. For instance, an hotel is opening up. They need the branded towels and all of those things that they brand. And then I get the contract. All I do is I import the items, and if they want it branded from over there, we get it done. If they want it to come in fresh and then we brand it in Nigeria, that's another thing. So now, what I just mentioned, you can actually do that without your own money. There's something we call OPM, other people's money, doing business with other people's money. You have the skill, then you've built the credibility already. They can trust you with their money. So all they need to do is this is what we want to buy. That's in the area of procuring, like being a procurement agent. You have the skill already, then you strike a business with them. You don't have to use your money. For instance, let me use let's say the NYSC Youth Corpers boots. For instance, I don't know how they get that done, but you can imagine you're privileged to get the contract of supplying the boots. Because we have a lot of this, so it's not a one-person thing, but let's imagine you're asked to import them. They know that I'm not selling the boots, so I just buy those things based on requests. You understand? I've been given the money, and then I just buy it and supply. So that's one of the interesting parts of it. You don't necessarily have to start up with your money. And you can imagine maybe on your first deal, you're even dealing in 7-8 digits already. And it doesn't have to be your money. All you have is the skills. You have the connection with the manufacturers and all of that. Then secondly, another aspect of it is buying to resell. Now that is personal. That is personal to your brand or your individual self. Okay, I want to sell shoes or I want to sell bags. I'm using the basic things so that anyone that wants to start can understand. I'm not even mentioning the big stuff like gadgets, like machines and all. So I want to start, but now I'm going to start on my own capacity. And thank God, the level at which importation is going right now, using China as a case study, before, importation is something that not just anybody can do, because these people produce in mass quantity. They have the capacity to produce 100,000 units of whatever product in a week. So for them to also sell fast, You can't come to them to be buying one. It's just like you want to buy a carton of Indomie. You can't go to the plants to go and buy 1 carton of Indomie just because you want a carton. They will just direct you to their distributors or wholesalers. Exactly. So what they do is, most of the time, there's something they call MOQ. That's the minimum order quantity. For you to buy from us, number one, we know you're buying from us because we are cheaper. I mean, we sell it cheaper. So you have to buy a certain quantity. But then they now understand that a country like Nigeria is a very big market for them. So now they are used to the fact that not everybody has that capacity to buy high. So they've brought down the minimum order quantity, like the requirement of, you must buy this certain quantity. So, but the structure they just put in place is that, if you're buying this unit, if you're buying like maybe from 5 to 10 pieces, you have to pay this price per unit. Then if you're buying from 100 pieces and above, you have to pay this price per unit. So that's it. So, basically, my answer to your question is that you can start on whatever capacity.
You can start as a contractor.
Yes, as a contractor.
As an importer contractor.
Yes.
As the money that you have.
Yes,
you can,
and you can be a trainer.
And can be a trainer. Thank you. Now, as we leave on the program, what is your word of advice to those who want to come into your own kind of business and they are new, and someone who are not really, do not know the knowledge how to go about it? What will you tell them? Okay, one word I would give is that we're in Nigeria. Nigeria is not a producing country, an outright producing country. The opportunity is there, so take advantage of it. I already mentioned that this is a business that you probably don't even have to start with a single amount of capital, especially in the contracting part. So you can make a lot of money. You can build a business, a profitable business and a formidable business out of it without a single capital. All you just have to do is get the right training, build credibility, and you have a business already. A business that will bring income. And can we categorize it on a skill? Can it be called a skill? Yes, you can. It's a skill. The fact that you get to train people, people learn, is a skill. Yes, because there's no how you engage in importation and the marketability part will not come in between. You have to be marketable. So those are the things that you get to learn along the process. You know how to negotiate, and also it's a skill. Teaching, how long will you teach someone to import? How to import? It depends. It depends, but it's something. It's not BSc, so it's not something you have to learn for 6 months or, within a month or two, you know what to do already. Even a month can be a lot, because, for instance, personally, if I will teach somebody, I won't take you through the whole definition that you can easily find online. We are going straight to the point. Okay, this is what you have to do. Practical, yes. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Comfort Abeokuta, for coming on the program, and we have discussed importation business, and especially looking at the dollar rise effect on importation. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we'll be closing this program, the profit point for this week. And don't forget that you can join this program as a sponsor, or you can advertise your product or services on the program, The Profit Point Show, or any other program on OGTV. And if you want to do that, you can call this number, that is our marketer's number, 0803-396-0423. For sponsorship or advert, you can call this number, 0803-396-0423. And that will be all on the Profit Point Show for this week. We've discussed fintech and we have discussed importation business on both segments. Until next time, when I see you again, my name is Charity James. Have a profiting Thursday.